Hi, everybody, and welcome to Chelsea Groton Bank's theme summer series. It is a holiday today for the 4th of July, so we are pre-recording this video for you and your students so they can do it anytime that they have some free time. So today we're going to be making constellation flashlights. If you got a kit, you should have a flashlight, a nail. There are some batteries in there. You'll need 3 per flashlight. You'll also need the constellation worksheet that I have put in there. If you don't have the kit, don't worry. I provided in the email a link to the constellation worksheet and the black paper. It's heavy cardstock, so you'll need that. If you were not provided a flashlight by us, I know the instructions said that it should be non-LED, but LED will be fine. I've tried this out, and all I could find was LED, so good luck to you. If you have a bigger flashlight, that's fine. If you're just going to use a flashlight from home, also fine. You can still use the patterns that I provided. You might need to make them a little bit bigger. I shrunk these down so that they would be appropriately fitting with these flashlights. So the first thing that we're going to do is learn about constellations, and I have a video that I'm going to share with you. So I am going to share my screen.
Constellations. There are more than 300 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. The Milky Way is the galaxy where our solar system is located. Our solar system is made up of space rocks, planets, the sun, the moon, and of course, Earth. But did you know that the Milky Way is only one of about 100 billion galaxies? And if we put all of those billions of galaxies together, there would be trillions and trillions of stars throughout the universe. That's a lot of stars. Amazingly, out of all those trillions of stars, when you look up at the sky, you can only see about 4,500 of them. You are only seeing a tiny fraction of how many stars are really out there. What's remarkable is that out of the trillions of stars, each one is different. Some stars may have their own system of planets. Some stars are older than others. And some stars may no longer exist, but their light still travels toward Earth. That may seem odd that a star's light can still be seen after it's gone. But stars are born, they live, and after some time they die, just like us. After they die, their light continues to travel throughout the universe. By the time its light reaches us, a star might have been dead for thousands of years already. There are people who study space, stars, and the universe for their job. These people are called astronomers. The earliest astronomers noticed that many of the brightest stars in our galaxy formed pictures in the sky. They call these pictures constellations, similar to connected dots, pictures. When the twinkling stars are connected, they form a constellation. The constellations make up shapes of people, animals, and mythological beings. The word mythological comes from the word myth. A myth is a made-up story. The Greeks and Romans made up stories about gods, heroes, and creatures such as serpents, dragons, or flying horses. They then named various constellations after them. Let's take a closer look at a few constellations that might be familiar to you. As you look at these constellations, you may notice that some of them are easier to see than others. Sometimes the images are just a series of straight lines in a special pattern that may not look exactly like a person, animal, or mythological being. Many of the constellations require you to use your imagination to see the image they create. See if you recognize any of these constellations. Hercules is one of the largest constellations, but its stars aren't very bright. Hercules is a hero from Greek mythology. He is one of Zeus's children and was said to be very, very brave. This constellation is an image of Hercules, who became a god after his death. Orion mainly consists of supergiant stars, which are the largest and brightest stars. 3 of these stars form a line called Orion's belt. They lead to Sirius, which is the brightest star in the sky. Orion can be seen from both the southern and the northern hemisphere. From Greek mythology, Orion was a giant and a very good hunter. Zeus placed him among the stars after Orion's death. Orion looks like he is defending himself from a nearby constellation called Taurus the Bull. Orion is holding a club or weapon in one hand and a lion pelt in the other. This constellation is visible throughout the world. Pegasus is a constellation in the northern sky. In Greek mythology, Pegasus is a magical horse with wings. One of the stories about Pegasus says that his hooves dug out a spring, and anyone who drank the water was given the gift of writing poetry. Draco is Latin for draconum, which means large serpent or dragon. This constellation looks like a large snake making its way through the northern sky. It can be seen all year from the northern hemisphere. There are a lot of different myths about Draco. One common myth says that Draco was given the job of guarding some golden apples for Hera, the wife of Zeus. But Hercules slayed Draco to get the apples. Hera was so sad when Draco was killed, she placed him in the sky. Aquarius is another large constellation with stars that aren't very bright. During different months of the year, it is visible from either the southern or northern hemispheres. The myth related to the constellation Aquarius is about a man named Ganymede, who lived on Earth. Ganymede was very handsome and the king of the gods. Zeus noticed him. Zeus sent his messenger down to Earth to tell Ganymede to come to Mount Olympus, where the gods lived, and serve the gods by bringing them water. Ganymede obeyed. Zeus thanked Ganymede for his service by putting a constellation of him in the sky. Aquarius means water carrier. This constellation shows Ganymede kneeling in the sky, pouring water out of a pitcher. Ursa Major means great bear. You have probably heard of a smaller section of it called the Big Dipper. The Big Dipper is a group of stars inside Ursa Major. It makes up part of the back half of the bear, as well as its tail. The Big Dipper is not actually a constellation as some people think. It is called an asterism, which is a group of stars that are smaller than a constellation or are part of a constellation. The story of the Great Bear is that Zeus turned a beautiful woman named Callisto into a bear to hide her from his wife. Ursa Minor is also known as Little Bear. Little Bear is the child of Great Bear. The Little Dipper makes up part of Ursa Minor. There are 12 other constellations that you also might have heard of, called the signs of the Zodiac. They represent all the dates in a calendar year. Your birthday determines what your zodiac sign is. Some people believe that the different signs of the zodiac will tell you what your talents are and what your personality is like. The signs might reveal that you are a shy person or outgoing, or that you are laid back or more serious. Some people also believe the signs can make certain predictions about your life and your future. Here are the locations of the 12 constellations of the zodiac and their names: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Constellations can be very useful. They have helped ancient farmers know when to plant and harvest crops, and they were used as a type of calendar in the sky. Many travelers relied on different stars, like Polaris or the North Star, as well as various constellations to guide them through their journeys. Today, modern astronomers and stargazers use constellations to help keep track of specific stars in the sky. They are also used to locate other objects in the sky, such as galaxies. In 1922, the sky was divided into 88 different constellations, but not all of them are as well known as others. Many of the constellations may be seen in the northern hemisphere, but may not be visible in the southern hemisphere. And some may be easier to locate depending on the time of year. The next time you are outside, look up at the stars and see which constellations you can identify. Thanks for following Clarendon Learning.
So now we've learned a bunch about constellations and the sky. And now we're going to be able to make our own constellations that we can use in our room at night or wherever we would like. So today we're going to be making 4 different constellations that they spoke about in the video. We're going to be making Ursa Minor, we're going to be making Ursa Major, Taurus the bull, and Leo the lion. So the first thing you're going to do is locate this sheet that talks about all the different constellations. We're going to cut out each of these circles, so you'll need a pair of scissors. So we're going to start with Ursa Minor. Ursa Minor is the little bear, which we learned about in the video. And so I don't know if anybody remembers, but Ursa Minor is part of the Little Dipper, or the Little Dipper is part of Ursa Minor. So we have this cut out, okay? And then we're going to cut out Ursa Major also. So we're going to cut out all these little circles. And Ursa Major, the Big Dipper, is part of Ursa Major, which they told us about in the video. And these two go together. So Ursa Major is the big bear and Ursa Minor is the little bear. And Ursa Major, the ancient Greeks tell the story about a beautiful girl named Callisto who was turned into a bear by a mean goddess, and a tracker tried to catch the bear, but a Greek god Zeus saved Callisto by placing her in the night sky. So that is Ursa Major. And Ursa Minor, the little bear, comes from also the ancient Greeks. Hercules was a great hunter, and one day while he was hunting in the woods, he came across the great bear, Ursa Major. And little did he know it was actually his mother, Callisto, who was under the spell. So he was about to catch her, but the Greek god Zeus stopped him just in time and turned him into Ursa Minor, the little bear, so that he could be with his mom. And then Zeus placed the 2 bears into the sky to keep them safe and protected. So we have cut those 2 out. The next thing that we're going to do is trace them on to our black paper. So I recommend using a pencil to trace onto the black paper so that you can see it, or a white crayon would be good, or a white or yellow or something light colored pencil. Okay, so we're going to cut out a black circle the same size. Then once we get this cut out, We're going to make sure before we do this that it fits on our flashlight. So we're going to want to just cover up the base of our flashlight with the black circle. We want it to cover the whole thing. We don't want any light to be escaping around the outside. So even if you have to cut it a little bit bigger, that would be okay. And then we're going to take our black circle, and we're going to take our constellation, and we're going to put it on top. Now we're going to use our nail, or you can use anything pointy that you have. The nail is good because it makes a little bit bigger of a hole than a thumbtack, for example. But we're going to be pushing through the stars on our constellation with our nail. Okay, so you want to be careful and not poke yourself in the finger or anything like that. I'm gonna lay mine on a foam sheet that I gave you some in your kit. So you're only poking through the stars, and you're really wanting to make sure that the hole opens up. You're not poking through the lines, just the stars. Okay, so we're going to do all of them. I've got Ursa Major right here, and get all of the holes poked. Ursa Major has a lot of stars. Okay, so I have poked through all of the holes, so I'm going to take off the white, so I am left with the black. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is take my flashlight, and inside is this. We're going to want to put some batteries in it. So we'll put our 3 batteries in. They are just loose in the bottom of your bag, so hopefully you'll find them. Let's see if I can get these in the right way, if I remember which way they came out. If I get them in upside down, oops, if I get them in right, I will have a very bright flashlight. So then what I'm going to do is hold the black over the top of my flashlight, and then in a dark room, I am going to be able to project the constellations up onto my ceiling. So you can, people that at home, the flashlights we provided don't have the screw off tops. When they screw off, you know, there's some of them you can screw off to change the light bulb. But these don't screw off to change the light bulb because they're LEDs. There's no light bulb to change. You can push in a little bit. So if you want to trim a little bit off the edge, being careful not to trim too much because you want to make sure, again, to cover that whole light source. Trim a little bit, and you can push it in there. So you can push it into the hole so that when you turn your flashlight back on, all that you're seeing are the light sources. So if you do all 4, you will be able to project the 4 constellations onto your ceiling. The other 2 are Taurus the bull, and Taurus was from the ancient Greeks, story of a wild bull named Taurus who had a bad temper. And one day he trampled a field of wildflowers and Persephone, the goddess of spring, was very sad, and Taurus apologized, and they soon became good friends. And from then on, every spring, Persephone would ride on Taurus's back, and the 2 of them would make the flowers bloom as they walked by. And the last one is Leo the lion. And as we learned about in the movie, Leo the lion is part of the constellations. Leo lived outside the ancient city of Nema for many years, and Leo's a Greek myth. And Leo would scoop up people from Nema and no one would stop him. One day, Hercules went to stop the lion and won. So everyone who the lion had caught was set free, and Zeus made Leo a constellation in the night sky to remind people of Hercules and Leo. Okay, so I did Ursa Major, but you're going to continue and do Ursa Minor, you're going to do Taurus, and you're going to do Leo. You're going to continue to cut out your black circles. You can either push it in. If your flashlight has the twist off, you're going to cut your paper to be whatever size would go inside of that twist off. The hard thing about pushing it in is that once you push it in, you might have a hard time getting it out again, and you might have to bend it. So I like the just kind of holding it over method, holding your finger on top with this particular one. So have fun and be looking at all of the constellations on your ceiling, and we will see you on Wednesday. Have a great holiday. Bye-bye.